If y'all see me, I'm all smiles. Yes, I'm fixing to tell y'all why. Welcome to the Max Life. We are beginning our squash patties. If y'all remember seeing me do these in the past, I'm excited because I've had to do them by hand for a really, really long time. I have had everywhere from doing them on a shredder to putting them and hand cranking one, which neither are very fun. And I finally invested in, this was $79. I found it on Amazon. I'm not affiliated with it at all. We have not ran one squash through it yet, but we are about to. And I'm very excited because if this saves me all day's worth of work to be able to get these squash put up, then it will definitely be worth its money. After they have been completely shredded, then I take all of the squash and squeeze out the juice in order to have the leftover part of squash to make in patties. If you don't squeeze that juice out, they get really watery and you just really cannot work with. So in all of my years of doing this, I finally have an electric shredder, and I'm crossing my fingers that this is going to make life a lot easier. So guys, here we go. I've got a lot of squash to turn into squash patties. If you guys are interested in the recipe that I use, which is fantastic by the way, y'all please check that recipe out. It is the Max Squash Fritters. It is over on Colby's channel. I believe it's about 3 or 4 years old, but guys, it is a really, really good way to take squash and put it up in the freezer where all you have to do is literally get it out, drop it in the frying pan. You may can even bake them. I've never done that. We really like ours super crispy, and they are a wonderful addition to add to a meal that you have prepped and you have made from scratch. Let's see. Oh, look at that, Harley. That is wonderful. Y'all, I can tell you one thing. We just shredded that squash in the matter of seconds. So I am so thrilled to be able to have this, and we are going to keep going and get all of this done so that we can get these squash put up. This is one of the chores I needed to do today, but we are not going to get squash all over the floor because it can get really, really messy in here. But guys, I'm so excited. If you ever have the amount that we have to do, electric is by far the way to go because hand shredding this is very time consuming, and it is also a huge workout because it is a lot of arm motion. I am done, well, with the squash patties that I decided to do. I knocked a lot of it out. Some we're just going to give away because it is just way too many for me to put up. What I already had put up before I even did these squash was enough to feed my family for a year plus, but I obviously don't want to let the squash go to waste, so I did more squash patties, and the rest we are going to give away. I have a couple of people who have told me that their squash plants didn't do good this year, so we are going to be sharing. I think that is a wonderful thing to do when you have extra, is sharing. So that is what we are going to do with that. Now, our storage room. I'm headed over to our big barn where I have some stain and some concrete stain. When I find all that stuff and get it all rounded up, I'm going to be coming back. Yesterday, I really wanted to get those shelves cleaned, get them prepped, get the floor scrubbed up, and get it kind of prepped. Time did not allow for that, so I'm going to try to do that this afternoon. It's already 4 o'clock, so don't know how much I'm going to get done, but I at least want to go ahead and I'm going to try to get some of that stain. Some of the things, all of this is stuff that we've already had. It has just been in storage. It's basically what we bought when we built our home. This month was 10 years ago. So a lot of that stuff that we've had over in storage, or we've had to replace over the years for maintenance or whatever. So none of that we have to buy. It's already all over in our barn storage area. So I'm going to get that right now, and we're going to try to really get this room prepped, because if I can knock the cleaning and the staining up, that means I can start organizing and utilize this extra space, which I'm so very thankful for, because I literally have stuff falling off of counters and falling out of cabinets. But you know, it's kind of like what I've told y'all before. When we do our own butcherings and things here, down from the chicken to the pork, it's a lot of items required to do those things. That is just one example. So then you have all of your different knives, your cutting blocks. There's just, it's so much to it. Different things to hang the meat with, all the way down to the smokehouse, the containers that you carry back and forth, the different seasonings, the casings. That's just me thinking about doing the porks. The chickens is the same way. When we get done butchering chickens, you have a bagging process that you have to do before they go in the freezer. It's just a lot of stuff, and in order to be able to do those things, it is great, but it is like we also have to have an area set up, which we have not had in these long years that we've been doing this. Most of our stuff honestly has either been up in the attic, or it has been in the counters, or it's been here or there, and we found ourselves trying to go around and gather all of these things for whatever we're doing. That's not to include all of the canning stuff, all of the food preserving items like your vacuum seal machines and all of that kind of stuff. I have pasta noodle makers, cream separators, because when I cook from scratch, a lot of these machines just make things a little bit easier, like spinning butter. I want to be able to spin butter and not churn butter, but even if you churn butter by hand, it still requires an item to be able to do that. So when you're doing this and you're making so much stuff from scratch, you have to have the equipment to do that. And I'm spaced out when you add in pots and pans and just food for a family our size. So I'm very thankful for this. We are kicking this off. If I can get this project done and start cleaning out and reorganizing, it is going to be such a tremendous help. So let's get over to the barn and get those things now. Here is some of our stain and stuff right here. I'm going to have to go through this and look for the colors that I'm needing, which is probably going to take a little time. Guys, y'all got a quick preview of what this thing is going to look like when we're done with it. It is 9 o'clock tonight. I was only able to get one shelf done because I had some other stuff come up today that caused me to stop for a couple of hours. So one shelf is knocked out. I'm going to try to finish the rest of these before lunch tomorrow. Let me tell you what is very time consuming, and that is hitting all of these edges underneath, all of these little corners. I'm going to actually have to come back and touch up some of the paint because it is so close to the wall. So I'll be coming back, touching up some of that paint, but it will be a whole lot easier for me to come back and touch up the paint versus trying to go very, very slow on the underneath. If I touch it a little bit, I can very easily come back and touch it up with the paint. So that's where we're at on this project today. Guys, thanks always for tagging along, seeing the things that happens here on the farm, watching these silly little kiddos. We hope you enjoyed this video, y'all. God bless and happy homesteading, y'all.
Happy homesteading. Happy homesteading.